Albert Einstein once said, "Everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish on its ability to climb a tree, it'll live a whole life thinking it's stupid." I want you to look at your thumbprint, right? Look at the thumbprint of the person next to you. No two thumbprints are the same, just like no two brains are the same. In a graduating class of 62, we were all put in the same classes, learning the same information, taking the same tests for 13 years, but yet none of us are the same. I'm Jada M, and I feel called to persuade you with everything wrong with our education system and give you solutions to eliminating standardized testing. We take personality tests and we see that we are different learners. We can be visual learners, tactical learners, or auditory learners. Some of us may see speeches and listen to lectures better and understand those situations. We might see graphs and colors, or we might be more hands-on learners. Yet our education system has never applied this to help us learn in different ways. Looking around, none of us are the same. We have athletes, we have farmers, we have people who enjoy staying in and reading on the weekends. None of us are the same, so yet how are we supposed to test the same? How are we supposed to compare to one another? This is a phone from today. This is a phone from 150 years ago. Do you guys see a difference? This is a car from today, and this is a car from 150 years ago. Again, big difference. But this is a classroom from today, and this is a classroom from 150 years ago. In over a century, nothing has changed. Students get short breaks to eat, but yet for 8 hours a day, they are told what to think and how to act. One thing this creates students for one type of success. We compare each other to get a grade A, and yet we learn in different ways. How is this fair? I relate to this on a personal experience. Addie is my sister, who is 2 years younger than me, and for those of you who don't know, she's attending Fort Hays State University at 16. She took the ACT when she was in 6th grade and got a 22, and I didn't take the ACT until my senior year, and let me tell you, I did not get a 22. Here I am at Heston College, attending right after my senior year, and yet me and Addie went through the exact same life experiences, were raised by the exact same parents, and went to the exact same schools, but yet we are two people with two completely different minds, so we can't compare to one another. Students cannot fit this one-size-fits-all standard. If a doctor gave everyone the same medication, their sickness would not be cured. But yet we feed students the same information, trying to get them to all follow down the same path. Gina has different strengths than Quentin, Kara has different needs than Michael, Jaden has different gifts than Shanti, and Blake has different dreams than me, so how can we all be the same? Throughout school, we are taught one thing, just to finally dive down the career path to where we are now. Prince E.A. said, Teachers should be paid the same amount as doctors, because a doctor can do surgery to save the life of a kid, but a teacher can reach the heart of a kid and allow a kid to truly live. If we customize our Instagrams, our cars, and our houses, why can't we do the same for our education? Schools in Finland have shortened their school days, don't have homework, and focus more on collaborative learning, rather than having students fight for a grade like a competition. Students are 20% of our population, but they are 100% of our future. Frederick J. Kelly, the man who invented standardized testing, said it best himself. These tests are too crude to be used and should be abandoned. Standardized testing became more common after the No Student Left Behind program started in 2001. Studies from ProCon, an organization that collects testing statistics, shows that before passing this act, the United States was ranked 18th in its education system, and after passing the act, we dropped down to the 31st ranking. Students have shown that it's easier to improve testing scores in reading rather than math, because with math you are shown multiple ways to solve a problem, while in reading it's all left up to comprehension. And in comprehension, it's hard to teach somebody how to comprehend something because we all have different life experiences that let us relate to words in different ways. A school in Florida handed out peppermints because the University of Cincinnati found that the smell helped increase test scores, but could this just be a placebo effect? Standardized testings are unreliable measurement of student performance. A 2001 study by Brookings Institute showed that 80% of the year-by-year test scores were only improved temporary and no long-term changes showed. Teachers have started to teach to the test, which is a drill and kill method. A 5-year study by the University of Maryland found that teachers were teaching to the test, and this led in declines of learning that would last over time, which is to create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, and remember. So that way that later on in the future we can use that same information that we are learning now again, but since it's a drill and kill method, students are most commonly forgetting what they have learned. Instruction time. Over a quarter of the year of our school year is consumed by excessive test preparation, where some schools provide more than half of the year just to focus on testing preparation and getting students to get ready for the ACT, the SAT, and other tests that they may take. Gregory J. Cizik is an education professor, and he wants to talk about how we can use different ways of getting rid of anxiety. He's written 3 books about anxiety before testing and how to mentally cheat a test. But he states that illustrating how testing produces gripping anxiety in even the brightest students and makes young children vomit, cry, or both. So kids that are in elementary school, at the sight of test booklets, they are vomiting and crying at the age of 8 years old. Like, that is causing them this anxiety at such a young age. But this is not the first occurrence that we've heard of this. In March of 2002, the Sacramento Bee reported that test-related jitters, especially among young students, have caused them to vomit at the sight of a booklet walking into the classroom. But what are solutions to these problems? If we were to get rid of standardized testing, how would we test what students are learning over the course of time? STELF is a MacArthur Foundation assessment of testing, and it not only tests students' education on what they're learning, but it tests their success readiness, their hopefulness, their engaged, and if they're thriving, how students relate to their classwork, and if they are doing well in the classroom. Taking these and measuring them by portfolio-based assessments, gathering their information throughout the school year and looking at all of those rather than giving them a test to see if they learned all the information at once. In conclusion, I don't have much faith in schools, but I do have a lot of faith in people, and this is what drives me to become a teacher. And I think we can all agree that we should no longer force fish to climb trees. Thank you, and here's my sources.